Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I want to be giving my thoughts on the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, episodes 11 and 12. We are at the end of the season. Episode 11 picks up right where we left off with Hahari asking Rentaro to be her boyfriend. There's a hilarious gag at the start of this episode where they do a recap, and it's just two scenes back to back, where it's like Hahari like cold and being like, "I'll never let him anywhere near Hikari," and then immediately cuts to her asking him to be her boyfriend, and it was just really funny. So we pick up from there where Hahari, after blurting that out, realizes what she said and just tries to move on. Let's get back to what we're doing here. Forget about that. And so she doesn't think Rentaro is good for Hikari. And so she has Rentaro and Kurane there, who were the only ones left. The rest of the girls fled after the lasers, like the laser security system, because they couldn't get across, so they all got out of the building. It was just Kurane and Rentaro left. So Hahari has them. And she decides she's going to test Rentaro by making him do a lie detector to prove that his love for Hikari is fake. Also, I keep trying, like, I'm gonna mix up Hahari and Hikari a lot. I'm already doing it. It's funny reading it and being like, aha, their names are the same, and her name has mother in it. That's funny. Like, because what? Haha is mom, so Hikari, Hahari. That's funny. Trying to talk about it is going to be a pain. So they do the lie detector. Rentaro smartly says, "How do I know that works? Like that, this could just be a trap, right? This could be a trick. I could do that, and it could just say I'm lying every time." So Hahari does a little test where she makes Kurane do it first, so they can ask questions and get her answers. And they start with breast size questions, just to sort of torture Kurane. And boy, she really goes through it. If you tell even like the slightest exaggeration on this stupid lie machine, it'll say you're just lying straight up. So Kurane suffers a little bit with that question. And then we get to the next question, which we get like another really funny scene. Like, we're in the midst of a really dramatic arc right now, but like some really funny stuff is happening, where Hahari asks Kurane, "Do you love Rentaro?" And she says, "Yes, of course I love him." And it just says no. And again, you have to be completely honest in how you describe your feelings to this stupid machine, to where, like, she says, "Yes, I love him. Yes, I really, really love him. Yes, I really, 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 really love him." And we even get the however many times in the title they say "really." She even says it that many times. Still wrong. And it doesn't say that she's telling the truth until it's like, "Oh, yes, I love him more than anyone in the world." Which is funny. And then the whole time, like, they keep saying that she's lying. Rentaro is going through it. He is near death. He's bleeding out, vomiting blood everywhere. And then as soon as it gives, like, the thumbs up, says, "All right, she's telling the truth now," like, all of the blood just gets, like, sucked back into his body. He, like, moves Kurane up and just sits in the chair and immediately confesses his love to her. And then Hahari continues the questioning with Rentaro. Now that we've proved that the machine works, it's time to trick this guy. Like, haha, he says that he loves her. Well, do you really? And so he just says, "Yes, I love her." It says it's green. And then eventually we get to the most dramatic part of this episode, which is Hikari trying to jump out a window. Which, I'm going to focus on this for a little bit. Hikari's bedroom is, like, on the 3rd floor of this mansion. It's pretty far drop. It's got, like, a nice, like, stone path below her window. You know, that's not a guaranteed kill. Like, you can survive that. It's gonna hurt a lot, and, like, yeah, if you know, you can die that way, but you better jump, like, head first to guarantee it, because that's not tall enough to guarantee you die. You can survive that easily. Like, your knees and legs will be busted. You'll be horribly injured, but you can survive. You gotta crawl up to the roof, and even then, 4 stories, like, yeah, that's pretty good, but, like, again, you might survive that. Like, it's not 100%. So this whole plan, ridiculous. Also, her reasoning for this is like, oh, I'm causing Rentaro so much trouble, I'm gonna jump out a window. Whatever. It's a silly comedy, so this bit is like, it's played dramatic, but I can't take it too seriously, you know what I mean? Like, we know nothing's going to come of it. That's fine. It doesn't... Knowing that she's not actually going to jump is fine. But it just felt a little much for me, this bit. Rentaro tries to talk her down. Also, Karane gets Hahari in a headlock, and again, we just keep highlighting how strong she is. In episode 9, with the fight against the biker girl, and then episode 10 with the tying themselves, like Rentaro and Karane tying themselves together to do the little walk over the lasers, to her now strangling Hahari, but also showing, like, once Hahari knew Hikari was in trouble, like, she was powering through, and she managed to drag Karane all the way back to Hikari's room. So Hahari, not that weak, at least when Karane's in trouble, or Hikari's in trouble, excuse me. So anyway, Hikari about to jump out the window, Rentaro trying to talk her down, which he successfully does, but what happens is, like, in the heat of the moment, right, the adrenaline's flowing, she's standing out on the window ledge, she gets talked down, and, like, the adrenaline's gone, and she just sort of looks and sees the ground, and she starts freaking out, and she slips, and she's falling, and Rentaro runs and catches her, and they're sort of dangling out the window. They fall, and Rentaro, doing his best to save her, kicks off the wall of the mansion to push them towards the pool. Or not even a pool, it's a fountain. The deepest fountain I've ever seen in my life, where full-grown teenagers are completely underwater. My goodness, this fountain is deep. But anyway, Hikari is saved. The people are crying. Hahari almost had a heart attack because obviously her daughter almost died. And then Karane comes up to Hikari, smacks her, which is fair. And then everybody just cries for a minute. Or not everybody, but it's just like Rentaro comforting Karane and Hikari. And like, these last couple, because even when Rentaro was basically saying, me and Hikari are going to run away and leave you behind, she was the one that stepped up and said, no, we're going to help and we'll all go together. Karane and Hikari were the first two. They came in at the same time. They are probably the closest out of all the characters here. So it makes sense. And this is just like a really good moment for them. Hahari cries, I don't know if she cries, but she's upset. And then it slips that Hahari confessed her love to Rentaro, which Hikari freaks out. And then Rentaro accepts her feelings, and I think that's the end of this episode. And that's sort of the end of this arc. We get like a post-arc silly episode with episode 12, which honestly is good. Like, again, the whole jumping out the window thing, it was kind of melodramatic and a little over the top for me. Overall, it was still a good episode, and there's lots of good moments, around that, but I felt like, alright, this is just a little too far, where it just took me out a bit. But yeah, episode 12, just a silly, fun episode. We just had a big drama. Let's relax. And we get to meet, or get to learn about Hahari a bit. Like, they're all staying in the mansion. They're, like, hanging out. They're playing games. Hahari, we learn, likes cute things, so she's got, like, a bunch of cute clothes and makes all the girls dress up in them. Actually, that might have been in episode 11. There might have been more, like, after the jump, we might have got some of this in episode 11. I don't remember. They're blending together for me. But anyway, we get some fun moments there where, like, oh, here's all the girls in cute outfits. And then, this is way later. I am jumping ahead into episode 12 now, where Hahari forces, or maybe not forces, I don't know how much he really resisted, but gets Rentaro in to cross-dress and then gets Nano to cross-dress, and then they kiss, and everybody's just watching, which is silly. There's a whole section of episode 12, I think, where they're trying to spy on Rentaro in the bath, which is really funny, where, like, Hakari and Hahari are basically set up to be perverts, and, like, Hahari has sort of been set up like that since this, or not Hahari, I keep doing it, this is going to be a nightmare. Hakari has kind of been the pervert for a while, and then Hahari, as her mother, is also a bit of a pervert, and they want to go spy on Rentaro. And then Nano is in, Kusuri is in, Karane is sort of like, pretends she's not interested, but also goes along with it, and Shizuka's the only one that really steps in to try and stop them, where it's like, you can't just go spying on Rentaro in the bath, you can't do that. And so she tries her best to put up a fight, and she's easily taken care of and wrapped up in like a futon thing, and she's sort of stuck. And so while everyone's trying to spy on Rentaro in the bathroom, it's Shizuka basically rushing off to try and save him. Meanwhile, Rentaro in the bath just has a towel on, and he's like, boy, Hakari and Hahari sure are perverts. I better put a towel on. They're going to try and peek at me. Can't be having that. So he knew right away, and he wasn't having it. And then we get like some funny moments, which do kind of serve a purpose for later on in the episode, where the first attempt to spy is basically hanging one of the girls down by a rope, I think it was Kusuri, to spy through a window into the bathroom. And Rentaro sees this and thinks it's like a ghost, and he freaks out. And then we see like the silhouette of a real ghost. And then the second attempt to spy is through the ceiling, where everybody's just making so much noise, like screaming. Oh yeah, the cat crawled up there. This stupid cat has just been a pain for like 3 episodes. They're trying to sneak around in the attic. The cat keeps rubbing up on them. It's dark. They think it's a mouse. They're freaking out. And meanwhile, they're screaming their lungs out up in the ceiling, and Rentaro just thinks it's ghosts, like, howling. So he's terrified. Shizuka finally makes her way to him to save him, and in doing so, ends up being the only one to actually see him naked. Which is just funny. This whole bath segment, like, I don't know if I'm doing it justice. It was very funny. This whole episode is really funny. But yeah, and then everyone goes to bed. They had their fun. They took their baths. Now they're going to sleep. They do not care about... Hahari does not care about Rentaro sleeping in the same room as all the girls. Just all sleeping next to each other, where eventually Hakari crawls into Rentaro's bed and just sort of thanks him, and then they go to sleep. And there's a segment, again, showing like how close Hakari and Karane are, where Hakari is sneaking out of bed, and Karane's like, yep, I knew it. I stayed awake for this moment. I knew you'd do this. Here's her basically just thank Rentaro, and then them go to sleep. And then she's just like, alright, I'll give you a pass. I'm not going to get mad. And then she goes to bed. Then eventually Rentaro gets up. I don't remember the order of this episode at all. I'm making a mess of it. I don't remember if this is at night or if this is in the morning. This might have even been the end of episode 11. I don't know. Rentaro sees Hahari grieving her first love, and she's still sort of like wishy-washy about dating Rentaro. She's like, oh, I don't know if I can ever forget about him and really dedicate myself to you. And Rentro's like, I have 5 girlfriends. It's fine if you're still in love with Hakari's father. Don't worry about it. And then they kiss, and then I think that was... I don't know the order of these episodes at all. It's just all jumbled in my mind. But anyway, after Hakari sneaks into Rentro's bed, Rentaro goes to like the bathroom or something, and then in the hallway, he sees the ghost of Hakari's father and Hahari's first love. And again, the Rentaro being afraid of ghosts thing sort of comes back, and I don't know what his name was, if he even has a name, but Hakari's father is like, I tried to spook you. Why aren't you scared of me? I'm a real ghost. You seemed afraid of ghosts. And Rentaro just flat out says, like, look, you're Hakari's father. She's wonderful. Hahari was in love with you. You can't be that bad of a guy. Why should I be afraid of you? And then Ghost talks to Rentaro for a minute, passes on to the afterlife, and Rentaro passes out, so we don't know if it's real or not. That's that. And then everybody goes to school. Everybody has to go home and then go to school. Hahari sees everybody off. Rentaro promises that as soon as he can, he will come see her. And then at school, there's an emergency meeting, and the emergency meeting is Hahari, being incredibly rich, for some reason, don't know why, has bought the school and is now the new chairperson of the school, so she's going to be at school all the time. Meanwhile, poor Rentaro, during this lunch break when this assembly was held, has run all the way to the mansion to see Hahari, and she's not there, she's at school. And that's the end of the show. The last little chunk here is Rentaro running back to school to have lunch with them, because he's like, alright, well, I came here to have lunch with Hahari, she's at school, I'm going to run back and have lunch with everybody else. And through this little segment, we get glimpses of who's to come. We see, I don't know if, I'll ruin it, I don't care, they make it obvious who's going to be the girlfriends in the next season. We get the maid that works for Hahari, we get, what was it, the girl swinging the baseball bat, we get the girl with long black hair, you can't see her eyes, and then you get the girl the blonde girl that's like looking at her reflection in the mirror, and is obviously like very interested in her looks. I think that's all, right? Oh, no, there's also a girl eating something, right? So 5 girls. At the end of this, Rentaro makes it up to the roof where they always hang out, and there's all the girls waiting for him. And then we get a tease at the end. We get another season. Cool. Yeah, that's the end of this show. I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed the manga, so I figured I would like this show. Animation was better than I expected for a silly harem comedy show, especially from a studio I'm not familiar with. The voice cast was great the whole way through, basically. I think I had, like, again, in episode 1 I had an issue with random friend who never appears again's voice being a little off, but that's it. And it just was a good adaptation. I think the first episode, there was like a moment where they talked about how they skipped the god's speech a little bit. But for the most part, like, nothing stood out as missing to me. Nothing really stood out as, like, added, except for one thing that I almost forgot, and I'm glad I just remembered. In episode 11, there's a joke about, I forget how it went, but basically the show's like, oh, the show's gonna have to end here. If we do that, we won't be able to show the special ending for this episode. And then, like, Karani's like, oh, you just spoiled the surprise. What are you doing? And so, at the end of episode 11, we get, like, a brand new ED that's, like, all Hahari focused, which she wasn't featured in the ED for the first one. It was just Hakari, Karane, Nano, Shizuka, Kusuri, right? Didn't want to spoil the surprise of Hahari being a soulmate. Makes sense. And then she gets her own little ending at the end of episode 11, which was silly. It was kind of like, I don't really know the theme. There wasn't a lot of, like, words. Like, a good chunk of the song is just Hahari's voice actress screaming Rentaro. And then we get, like, not really still images, but, like, just, like, kind of static where the characters are moving a little bit of, like, the characters in, like, fairy tale outfits. So there's specifically the one that I remember is Alice in Wonderland, and then, like, some famous painting that I don't know the name of, and I can't even describe, where it's, like, it's just a famous painting. They recreate a famous painting, okay? Trust me. But yeah, the special ending for episode 11 was a lot of fun, and overall, show was really good. I'm very happy with it. I don't know how I talked about these 2 episodes for 20 minutes. I just looked at how long I've been talking. But yeah, good show. I'm excited for season 2. If the pacing is the same as in this season, well, they showed all the girls, so I know how far they'll get. I only have the first 6 volumes of the manga at the time of recording this. So I assume they're going to get through volume 6, because the girl with bangs over her face really doesn't come in until towards the end of that volume, or like the middle of that volume. And there's a pretty good arc for Karane at the end of volume 6 that I think would be a good, like, big final thing. Like how we had a big arc here. It's not as big or as drama heavy as this arc was, but it would be a good ending. But yeah, those are my thoughts on The 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You, Season 1. I'm excited for Season 2. I don't think it has a date yet, which is unfortunate. Hopefully it'll be sometime this year, but I'll absolutely do videos on that when it comes out, because I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.